Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin.
Greenpeace Southeast Asia is an international non-governmental organization that promotes saving and conserving nature for more than a decade. We ensure the ability of Earth to nurture life in all its diversity. Our goals are to protect biodiversity in all its forms, to prevent pollution and abuse of our land, air, and water, to end nuclear threats, and to promote peace and global disarmaments. Meanwhile, countries in the Southeast Asian region have been taking actions to promote environmental protection, ecological conservation, and sustainable society. Yet, the countries in the region are still highly vulnerable to climate change. We need large-scale change of policies to address the existing environmental and ecological problems as we foster sustainable development in Southeast Asian region. Greenpeace will continue working together with other social and environmental movements to achieve our common goal. In collaboration with the government of different countries, we know that we can achieve social and environmental justice. The solution to the world's ecological crisis does not exist in the corridors of power, but by catalyzing an interconnected global movement of people. The battle cannot be won merely within the confines of the institutions we have built and the boundaries of the different country. All of us need to stand together to make it happen. Let's create a sustainable growth for a better future.
Welcome to Greenpeace Southeast Asian Summit in collaboration with Southeast Asian countries. Leaders from different countries in Southeast Asia are gathered here today to work with solidarity in addressing the existing environmental and ecological issues concurrent with the fostering of sustainable development in the region. To begin the ceremony, we will have the Greenpeace Southeast Asia Executive Director, Paul Kim Vergara.
Good day, everyone. It is my privilege to welcome you to this landmark gathering. I want to thank all the leaders of Southeast Asian states for being here today. It is with great pleasure for Greenpeace Southeast Asia to collaborate with all Southeast Asian countries as one region, as one community, towards finding solutions for growing economic, social, and development challenges. 2019 was the warmest year on record, and we have witnessed the dedication and power of people to make a change amid climate emergencies that are continuously deteriorating Southeast Asia's communities and biodiversity. We could not reach this far without the collaborative work of different countries, the institutions, and other organizations therein. There is no doubt that all the tears, blood, and sweat of the last 2 decades have indeed helped to make real positive change. And today, we are here to create another milestone as we will further expand the collaboration among all countries in Southeast Asia. We need to find the right balance between hanging on to our principles and at the same time transforming our societies for a better future. We need to determine the right balance between promoting our national interests and yet safeguarding our biodiversity. If we can find this balance, then we can make a common cause. Even though we are in a grave period due to this pandemic, we should continue to address the growing environmental and ecological problems and seize the many opportunities that lie ahead of us. Again, thank you for allowing this collaboration. Together, let us strive for a better future. We are all on the same path towards for a greener and more sustainable development for the Southeast Asia region's future.
Thank you, Greenpeace Southeast Asia Executive Director, Paul Kim Vergara, for your opening statement.
The session is now called to order. Everyone, welcome to the first virtual session of our summit. The agenda of this session is to recognize the current environmental and ecological issues in the Southeast Asian region. And as we go on and see through the current status of the major issues of every country in the region, we would be able to determine the middle ground, meet halfway, and come up with accurate solutions. Now the floor will be given to the leaders of Southeast Asian countries, as they will address the prevalent environmental and ecological conditions in their country. The Sultana of Brunei now obtains the floor. Her Majesty Sultana Niwuza Bautista.
Thank you, fellow leaders of Southeast Asian countries. Ladies and gentlemen, Brunei only contributed about 0.025% of the total greenhouse gas emissions in 2018. At the same time, Brunei is still one of the highest contributors of carbon sinks for the 72% of its size is still covered with forests and maintained. Meanwhile, even though the country is one of the least contributing to global warming, Brunei is still vulnerable to medium to high climate change exposure. Brunei recorded a gradually increasing level of carbon footprints, which led to the rise of temperatures. As the country becomes more economically developed, urbanized, and the population continuously grows, the government considers aiming for further proper management of the quality of the environment. The government has implemented several national measures and strategies to combat the potential risks to climate change in our country. We launched the Brunei National Climate Change Policy to pave the Brunei's low carbon and climate resilient pathways for a sustainable nation by 2035. Aligned in this policy are the strategies that seek to support and advance Brunei's economic growth in a low carbon manner. With this policy implemented in the country, it was estimated that it's possible to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions to more than 50% by 2035. However, Brunei intends to, together with other Southeast Asian countries, and we could unravel the rampant environmental and ecological issues in our region. Thank you.
Thank you, Her Majesty Sultana Bautista, for your statement. I now give the floor to the Prime Minister of Cambodia, Prime Minister Apan T.
Fellow leaders of Southeast Asian countries, ladies and gentlemen, Cambodia is one of the world's worst deforestation situation due to the vast number of illegal logging of timber and rosewood. This severely impacts the livelihood of the people. The Cambodian government is trying its best to counter deforestation and take every step at its best, particularly by condemning the companies and individuals proven guilty of illegal activities. For the brighter future, deforestation needs to be resolved immediately. But indeed, the existing policies in the country are not enough to solve the problem. The government needs vigorous policies and practical strategies that could suppress the root cause of deforestation and its effect to biodiversity, the economy, and all its negative consequences. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Panti. I now give the floor to the President of Indonesia, His Excellency President Paulo Alimagno.
Your Excellencies, leaders of Southeast Asian countries, may God bless you all. Deforestation in Indonesia is a grim reality since then. However, last 2020 was remarkable because this is the lowest deforestation figure that we've ever achieved since the monitoring began in 1990. The deforestation rate in Indonesia last year fell by 75% to its lowest level. Different factors were attributed to this intense deforestation. Under the reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation in exchange for the funding, Indonesia would have to slow its emission from deforestation. The government established intensified awareness campaigns and preventative measures against the use of fire in land and management, as well as the land swap program that allows companies that have admission in protected peats areas. Other factors like the unusually wet year, declining palm oil prices, and an economic slump that led to a slowdown in forest clearing activity. With all these factors, Indonesia successfully lowered its deforestation rate. Yet, the government sought to lower deforestation rate and cautioned against pursuing economic growth, emulating Brazil's deforestation-driven extractive model. For Indonesia to maintain this downward trend in forest loss, the government, the private sector, and civil society organizations need to strengthen these measures and build on them to end deforestation in the country. However, as we collaborate, the country is looking forward to other strategies and solutions. Indonesia is confident that we can address the existing environmental and ecological problem in our region for sustainable development. Thank you.
Thank you, Indonesian President Alimagno. Next, Prime Minister Mark Angelo Zamora.
Your Excellencies, it's a great privilege to be involved in this collaboration. Recently, Laos is facing an environmental crisis, which much of the remaining forests being unhealthy and degraded. The country is left with just 40% covered forests. Deforestation across Laos offset the effort of the country to reverse the forest destruction through reforestation. The neighboring countries such as China and Vietnam are dependent on timber supply from Laos. In 2013, a leaked report of the Worldwide Fund for Nature revealed that Laos exported 1.4 million cubic meters of timber to Vietnam and China, which is more than 10 times the country's official harvest. The government then responded by issuing an official order in 2016 banning all unprocessed Laos timber exporting, yet up to the present, illegal logging is still occurring. Deforestation has negatively impacted the country's biodiversity. The forests of Laos are extremely damaged, and this can get even worse. In line with this, our nations seek effective strategies and policy upon collaboration with other countries in the region to address this problem, Laos and other countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Zamora. I now give the floor to the Prime Minister of Malaysia, His Excellency Dave de la Cruz.
First and foremost, I would like to commend Greenpeace Southeast Asia and all the countries in the region for this significant event. Water is essential to life requirements, but people have been abusing and misusing water for so long. Industrial waste, garbage, and other remains of used commodities have been dumped in rivers and oceans, causing water contamination. It is also contaminated with toxic chemicals discharged from factories and pesticides used in agriculture. In September 2020, more than a million households in Malaysia's densely populated Klang Valley suffered extended water cuts after illegal chemical dumping that delayed the region's aging water purification system. As pollution increasingly seeps into Malaysians' daily lives, civil society, together with different environmental and ecological organizations, have been amplifying their voices to raise a sense of urgency to recalibrate the approach towards the destructive actions that deteriorate the exquisiteness and importance of the environment, not just for us, but for the future generations as well. With this event, Malaysia is looking ahead to more extensive cooperation among Southeast Asian countries in addressing the prevailing concerns of countries in the region. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister de la Cruz. Next is the President of Myanmar, Her Excellency Nicole Batante.
Greenpeace Southeast Asia and leaders of Southeast Asian countries, thank you for letting Myanmar join this collaboration. Deforestation is a major environmental problem in Myanmar. Although 75% of Myanmar was once well endowed with natural forest resources, only 51% of the country remained covered by forests. Deforestation is a vital contributing factor to the dwindling biodiversity in tidal forests and elsewhere. The main reason for deforestation are excessive cutting to make way for agriculture and the increasing demand for fuel timber and non-wood forest products. Myanmar works to control deforestation through various projects in cooperation with the United Nations Development Programme or the UNDP. Myanmar will devotedly cooperate with other countries in the region to achieve our common goal.
Thank you, Prime Minister Potante. I now give the floor to His Excellency Paul John Cruz, President of the Philippines.
On behalf of the 111 million Filipino people, I would like to express my gratitude for the warm welcome of Greenpeace Southeast Asia and the 10 great countries in attendance today to the Philippines. My allies, we shall never ignore the problems that Mother Nature is currently facing. Today, in the Philippines, climate change, deforestation, and other environmental issues continue to plague our wealthy country. Through a collective effort from the Philippine government and the Filipino people, these issues on natural surroundings are now in the process of eradication. It is time to fight the problems that exist to harm our environment. It is truly an honor to be a part of the Green Southeast Asia Summit. This historic collaboration is a testament to our united front to save the environment. By the power of our allegiance, we will make a better world for the future generation of humanity. The Philippines shall pledge to contribute to the projects, policies, and other strategic actions to preserve the environment. The Philippines will support its allied countries and Greenpeace Southeast Asia in its desired goal, a cleaner, greener, and stronger Southeast Asia region. Thank you, and may God bless our future endeavors.
Thank you, President Cruz. The floor is now given to the Prime Minister of Singapore, His Excellency Jonel Pasay.
Greetings to everyone in this session. The major environmental issues in Singapore are air pollution, threats to biodiversity, food security, plastic waste, and food waste. With the increase of the pollution and its drive to economic success, Singapore's great success increased people's interest to live here, which increased demand in services such as transportation and a place to live. Increase of industrial buildings, vehicles that worsen the air pollution in Singapore. On the other hand, the Singapore government launched several programs and initiated changes in our country. The government established a Clean and Green Singapore, which we employ citizens to maintain the cleanliness of the streets. We also switched to 95% of energy sources from petroleum to coal-based to natural gas which is much cleaner than the former. The country anticipates other realistic solutions intended to address our region's ecological and environmental crisis.
Thank you, Prime Minister Basay. Let us now have Prime Minister Timothy Ambo, Prime Minister of Thailand.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to represent my country and other head of states and diplomats, sharing and driven by the common ends. Southeast Asia has been a great contributor to ocean's waste pollution. Thailand, particular, had been experiencing waste management problems. Thailand ranked fifth as the most plastic pollution is in ocean according to Ocean Conservancy in 2015. Thailand uses more than 45 billion single-use plastics bags per year. 40% estimates to come from local markets. Subsequently, as much as the 3,432 tons of plastic was thrown away in the Thai capital each day in April. The Thai government has initiated a total ban on single-use plastics in all markets. To sum up, although it is unrealistic to halt the productions of plastic, the government he created a waste management program and continues the study on how we can manage our plastic waste properly, hoping to save a green environment for the generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Ambo. The floor is now given to the Prime Minister of Timor-Leste, Her Excellency Annalyn Manahan.
Thank you, Greenpeace Southeast Asia and fellow leaders of Southeast Asian countries. Timor-Leste is a new and coping state with such a tiny landmass for agriculture, and my country resorted to offshore petroleum projects that are high risk to massive oil spills, which is the leading cause of pollution in both land and water in Timor-Leste. Mining and oil exploration projects also affect the environment negatively as it would create sinkholes, deforestation, and wastewater disposal. One highlighted problem in my country is land degradation, and both natural and human factors are fundamentally convey land degradation. Land degradation threatens the livelihoods of billions of people worldwide, particularly for populations living in rural areas. Overall, land degradation should be given a global priority that requires policy solutions tailored to the specific needs and affected regions of developing countries, and is viewed as fundamental to alleviating poverty worldwide, to attain zero net degraded land. By examining the potential links between poverty and land degradation, we can avoid unnecessary trade-offs between these two critical conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Manahan. And now, the Prime Minister of Vietnam, Shaznai Magnaye, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First, I would like to acknowledge everyone at this meeting. This collaboration is a great opportunity for Southeast Asian countries. Our Ministry of Natural Resources and the Environment found that the deterioration in air quality in recent years is severe in many urban areas, especially in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. A 2013 National Environment Report showed that air pollution in Hanoi was graded from unhealthy to hazardous for over 265 days of the year. The primary sources of urban air pollution are traffic and industrial activities, per the Vietnam Environment Administration. We have created strategies to address the situation. MONRE has drafted an action plan on air quality management for the year 2020 to 2025. The Vietnamese government has plans to address industrial air pollution. This increasing regulatory stringency is likely to drive growth in the air quality management market and provide opportunities for U.S. solution providers. Although future actions are to be implemented, we believe that there might be better plans to address the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Magnaye. This session is now called to order. Everyone, welcome to the second virtual session of our summit. The agenda of this session is to provide possible solutions on how we could solve the environmental and ecological problems towards a more sustainable region. Countries in the Southeast Asian region are highly vulnerable to climate change as per Global Climate Risk Index. Greenhouse gases are the significant drivers of climate change. These greenhouse gases are the reason for the rise of temperature and air pollution in the region. However, massive deforestation in the region also contributes to the problem. Trees absorb carbon from the atmosphere, which prevents the rise of carbon levels and helps in reducing the greenhouse gases. Still, as we cut down these trees, we're not only destroying our best ally in capturing the staggering amount of greenhouse gases, we're also creating emissions by cutting down trees, as trees would release all the carbon they've been storing when they are cut down. Furthermore, improper waste disposal, which is rampant in the region, also produced emissions of several greenhouse gases. Thus, we need large-scale new policies to address these existing environmental and ecological problems as we foster sustainable development in our region. Each state leader is encouraged to deliver their statement in line with the possible solution or strategies that the countries could adopt to address the region's current environmental and ecological issues. We shall now start. Your Majesty, Sultana Bautista, you may go first to suggest solutions to save the environment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, to reduce air pollution, the Kingdom of Brunei suggests regulating industries by enforcing a carbon tax system. Increasing the cost of carbon-based fuels will motivate companies to switch to clean energy. The plan will boost economic growth by substantially increasing government revenue through a carbon tax system. Lastly, to address improper waste disposal, may the Kingdom of Brunei suggest support for the green job opportunities under waste management program that seeks to create more green jobs and considerable social, economic, and environmental opportunities for many countries.
Thank you, Your Majesty Sultana Bautista, for your proposals to protect the environment. The government of Cambodia may now provide additional solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Cambodia's proposal to improving coordination between ministries, making legal and policy framework more cohesive, achieving greater decentralization, building technical capacity, increasing private sector participation, and raising public awareness through an educational campaign. The government of Cambodia believes that our environment will improve in the future by the passage of proposed program. That's all. Thank you.
Well said, Prime Minister Pandig. Thank you for suggesting solutions. The President of Indonesia, the floor is yours.
Government of Indonesia's proposal shall propose fortified regulations on the lodging industry. For this reason, our government believes that Southeast Asian countries must obtain universal rules concerned mainly with commercial logging and aims to conserve and protect all lives, including the wildlife, traditional local communities, and also indigenous people.
Thank you for your suggestions, President Alimagno. Prime Minister Zamora, you may now propose your solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The government shall declare forest area constituting a quarter of the forested area as a protected areas, introducing a general nationwide ban on logging except in reserve areas of hydro dams, electricity lines, and designated forestry production areas under forest management plans.
Thank you, Prime Minister Zamora, for proposing that. Prime Minister De La Cruz, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Malaysian government shall implement industrial wastewater management, the installation of pre-treatment facilities, and the adoption of quality waste treatment protocols can extensively help eliminate toxic contaminants. Therefore, all manufacturing industry should ensure they have a well-designed treatment facility that can prevent water pollution. In addition, the government of Malaysia shall push for green agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister De La Cruz. President Mutante, you may now suggest additional solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The government shall propose a more strict policy using forests, mountain ranges, islands, and strict guidelines for the visitors for exploitation and loitering. And in addition, an annual closing of tourist spots will help the environment regenerate or breathe.
Thank you, President Mutante, for your suggestions. President Cruz, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Philippine government shall propose to promote beneficial programs for agricultural workers. The governments of Southeast Asian countries must support the environmental and ecological bureaucracies because these government agencies are vital to eradicate the issues that continue to harm the environment and the people's health. It's a win for the economy and the environment. The economy will grow, and at the same time, the road to a cleaner environment will be progressive. By the enforcement of beneficial programs for the agricultural industry, the country's agricultural system will strengthen.
I see, President Cruz. Thank you for your proposal. Prime Minister Basay, you may now propose your solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The government of Singapore has implemented Euro 6 emission standard for petrol and diesel vehicles in 2017 and 2018, respectively to reduce vehicular emissions. The policy will reduce ambient levels of hydrocarbons, carbon monoxides, and nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter in the city. I think other Southeast Asian countries may adopt it for local progression.
Thank you for suggesting that, Prime Minister Basay. Prime Minister Anggo, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The government of the Thailand proposes to promote the Eco-Responsibility Program, pertains to the 3RS mantra of reuse, reduce, and recycle. With the implementation and consistent practice of the 3RS, communities and local authorities and the state will able to manage waste and work towards achieving zero waste.
Thank you, Prime Minister Anggo. Prime Minister Manahan, you may now suggest additional solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The government of the Timor-Leste will support the effective implementation of sustainability protocols. It is pointed toward improving the average environment through sustainable utilization of assets like soil, water, animals, and plants to address the human issues. That's all.
Thank you for that proposal, Prime Minister Manahan. Lastly, Prime Minister Magnaye, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The government of Vietnam will push to improve, expand, and promote public transport and mass transit. Our government is taking action locally as we speak. In addition, support actions to promote non-motorized transport like sidewalks and bike lanes and new road projects, car-free areas, and other transport projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Magnaye.
Welcome to Greenpeace Southeast Asian Summit in collaboration with Southeast Asian countries. We are now the last part of our summit, and now we are going to invite the Executive Director of Greenpeace Southeast Asia to give his final statement.
First and foremost, I want to thank all the leaders of the Southeast Asian countries for allowing this collaboration. Indeed, we need to take urgent actions to combat climate change and all other environmental and ecological problems. After a few sessions, we have come up with the Green Southeast Asia Plan 2030, which consists of new improved solutions that are also in line with the 2030 UN SDG 13. These plans aim to reinforce the combat of Southeast Asian countries against the environmental and ecological problems in the region. Green Southeast Asia Plan targets to cut up to half of the greenhouse gas emissions of air pollutants by 2021 to 2030, which includes policies and strategies in transport sector such as improvement, expansion, and promotion of public transport and mass transit, investing on vehicles that can emit lower levels of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases, placing tax on high-emitting diesel-based vehicles, setting emission standards for petrol and diesel vehicles, in agricultural sector through beneficial programs for the agricultural workers, providing support on agricultural sector to invest on infrastructure and equipment that emits less air pollutants, introduce new regulations that require farming, fisheries, livestock, and forestry to use low-emission agricultural techniques and regulations to minimize air pollutants. In industrial sector through imposing higher carbon taxes for each ton of greenhouse gas emissions that industries emit, mandatory monthly carbon inventory among the public and private industrial sector, promotion of feed-in tariffs to encourage investment in renewable energy systems, also strategies and policies to combat deforestation, such as constituting a quarter of the forested area as protected areas, intensifying the government regulations on the logging industries, strengthening the criminal liability for over-mining and deforestation offenses, a binding agreement among Southeast Asian countries to ensure that products to be imported do not contribute to deforestation. And four, our problem in improper waste disposal, reinforcement in different sectors to uphold plastic waste reduction, debunk waste incineration, and start with waste recycling, promotion of green job opportunities, strict implementation of eco-responsibility, reduce, reuse, and recycle in the localities. These are some of the strategies and policies that we have decided throughout our sessions in the summit. As we all agree on this, Every country is expected to comply for us to achieve a green Southeast Asian region. Again, thank you for allowing this collaboration. Together, let us strive for a better future. We are all on the same path towards working for a greener and more sustainable development for the Southeast Asian region's future. Thank you.